You know what time it is. 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 Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book 91. We are having another week of relationship phoning, I guess, if you want to call it that, where you guys can give your dilemmas, some of the things that you're going through, some issues that you want to be discussed, and we will happily do the talking for you here, give you some good sound wisdom for you and your situation. So, without further much ado, I want to introduce my fabulous guest. Oh, my camera's playing up there. I want to introduce my fabulous guest. This is Marriage UK.
Everybody kicking in there.
Yeah, I know everybody's trying to get me, bro. What's going on, bro? Introduce yourself, Curtis. Let them know who you are, where they can find you.
You passing to me?
Yeah, who they need to know who you are, where they can find you, bro.
Listen, this is Marriage UK, guys. It's a pleasure to be here. We have those discussions regular on the topics around relationships, helping people navigate the journey of relationships, as we always have done. Whether you are single, married, divorced, dating, all of that. And it's a pleasure to be here again with you all to answer your questions. And you guys, Ayana A, are you the first? Tuning in from Hackensack, New Jersey. No, where is that?
Yeah, Trinidad. By way of Trinidad. Yeah, okay.
Okay, wow. I thought it says New Jersey there, but yeah.
I think that's
welcome. And guys, if you have questions, I'm going to be asking some questions to you all, but if you have questions, ask them on the show. We will do our best. We did have another guest. He may turn up in a little while. A special guest, but he is from Australia, a black man living in Australia, that is, so bring your questions and let's answer them, because we have to navigate this journey. We have to. So thank you. 100%. Living in New Jersey, but from sweet Trini. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Shout out Ayana. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. All right, cool. Let's jump straight in head first. Obviously, guys, if you're on the YouTube channel, make sure you like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of uploads. That is Little Black Book and this Marriage UK as well. The Marriage UK as well. Make sure you guys subscribe to their channel as well. All right, we've got some videos that we wanted to dive into today. We wanted to give the audience something to visualize as we do each week, to kind of get the conversation flowing, get people comfortable as well. So here's the video we've got so far. Let me bring it in. Okay, I'm going to zoom in so you guys can kind of see it a bit better. Peru. I wonder if can I zoom in a bit more? No. Okay.
I think when you click on it again, it will open up more.
Do you think? Oh, okay, fantastic. No, maybe not.
No, you got to log in. All right, don't worry about that. Don't worry, we'll get it.
My laptop. No worries. Okay, cool. So let's do this. Okay. Can you guys see? All right.
That's it.
Yeah. All right, cool.
The frankly reprehensible body language of that guy aside, seriously, go back and watch it. It's scary. It reminds me of I think a Reddit post from a few years ago. It must have been a few years ago. It was before I got married in 2017, asking people who work weddings, what is the number one thing that will predict a future divorce from a wedding day? And the top response was from a wedding photographer who said that the smushing of the cake in the partner's face tradition is the number one thing. And it was corroborated by a bunch of other people who work weddings. And I get it, because it's humor rooted in the humiliation of your partner on the day where you have assembled your closest friends and family to tell them that this is the person that you are going to uplift forever.
This is a big topic.
That's a mad thing.
Now, remember, he said a photographer told him that, right?
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily true that it's the number one predictor. I just want to say hello to everyone who's listening. because they're all the hellos are flying in. Welcome, welcome.
Yeah, I'm hitting
this queen won't quit. I'll never forget your name. However, it's one of the predictors, and it spells something bigger, right? That putting the cake in the face thing is a thing. It's like it can be quite fashionable to do, but it does spell. And bro, before I even go there, what do you think it kind of spells for you? Have you got any thoughts on it at all?
Fam, do you know what? It's mad because I mean, I thought he was going to talk specifically about that particular video, right? I've never thought the smushing of the. I mean, I wouldn't want to do it because I don't like having that things. Sticky stuff on my face and stuff like that. I don't like them kind of things.
Black people don't do them things,
but you know, I would think that so long as both couples were, this is what they really wanted to do, I was having no problems. But in that video, he I thought the video was about the fact that I thought the video was more about the fact that his force, because when you watch the video, his force of how he takes a cake to put it in her face, it's not I'm gonna gently smash it in your face. It was like sum. That's what I thought the video was about. I didn't think it was about cake in people's face. I thought it was about the force that he was using, because that was for me. For me, it was more scary. The cake in each other's face. I think if them two are kind of funny like that, they banter like that. I've always said this though: pranksters in relationships for me are very dangerous, because I don't like pranksters in marriages and relationships. I hate them. I hate them because I think a lot of couples who do these pranks don't know limits. They do pranks that are beyond, I would say, a prank. Yeah. So if you're gonna do that, usually, so that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't mind the whole cake in the face situation. If you two are like that, that's your energy, that's your flow. Who am I to say anything? Because some people are getting married in water. Like, who am I to say anything? But I think in this particular video, he looked vexed. Like, and it's almost like he didn't realize how much force he was taking. I think that for me was more scary. So yeah, but I hear what they're saying. They're making a correlation between what they've seen, observed, and what is the end result. So if that's what they're seeing, then who am I to argue? I'm not at these weddings every week. You know what I'm saying? I haven't been to any weddings where I've hosted and people have put cake in each other's face. I have seen couples who talk too much, but yeah, that's a different story.
You know what? I mean, I'm not a fan personally. I like to laugh at people getting pranked, but don't prank me like that, right? And on your wedding day, that's like a no-no. But that's for me. But what we do is we go deeper.
Yeah.
And look at the predictors for divorce. Guys, put in the comments what you think the biggest predictors of divorce are. I'm going to read some out. This is science. This is, I know the photographer, he's got a good heads up because he's in that line of business. He sees it all the time. But I want you to put in the comments. Oh, someone's put no respect. Someone's on it already. I'm going to show you something, right?
Cool.
And I'm going to show you the number one predictor for divorce. I'll come to it in a moment, right? Let's see what the comments are, actually. Let me just see what you're bringing. What we got. He looked angry. Yeah, we know he looked angry, man. You don't do prayer. No respect. Money. Money is not. It's not even near. Money is not on that list. So what you might be saying is people choosing to say, this is my money, your money. It is on the list, but it's not way up there. As why people get divorced. Finance, not necessarily. Pride is definitely there in the background, definitely. A huge engagement ring. What do you mean? The bigger the ring, the bigger the love, no? Shows how you treat your spouse in good times. This queen won't quit. Okay.
The bigger the wedding.
The bigger the wedding. Yeah, well, I know a lot of millionaires that are divorced, but hey, here we go. Predictors for divorce. Criticism. Now, guys, you have to understand, this is big. Obviously, criticism will naturally come out in a relationship. Let me read this article. Some criticism is unavoidable in a relationship, but it becomes unhealthy when you do it in a way that implies something is inherently wrong with your partner.
That's exactly Michaela. Okay, go on.
Say again?
Sounds like Married at First Sight, but go for it.
You know, when it's the go-to, I want us to kind of, lack of communication, these all contribute. Love language. Now, look, we're not talking about marriage problems now. And obviously, I'm asking you guys a question that you probably won't even know the answer to, right? And all of these things can cause a problem and even create divorce. But we're talking about how likely your marriage is to fall apart and you divorce. Okay. I need to stress that point, the likelihood of divorce, meaning what's in the divorce rates. Yeah. Criticizing your partner as a go-to is up there. Let's go again. There's the biggest one I'm going to show you in a sec. Defensiveness is another one. And you'd have think, you know what? You'd have thought domestic abuse, cheating. No. Here we go. Being defensive. So defensiveness arises from a perceived attack with your own counter complaint. It's also another way to act like a victim or not to take responsibility for your mistakes, such as behaviors which include making excuses or saying it's not my fault. Guys, this is interesting. It's not the stuff that makes your marriage or relationship tough. It's the stuff that causes you to end. Here's another one. I've been guilty of this in the past. Here and there. Stonewalling. Stonewalling someone, meaning a complete withdrawal from communication and essentially the relationship. So you know when there's conflict and you just blank. These things are creators of divorce. There's one more. This is the number one thing. To how to measure the things that create divorce is not easy. And so I think the most comprehensive study was done by John Gottman. Let me go through some of these comments first. I'm going to come to it. Love language, yeah. Lack of communication, it's all there. How he treats his mother and family. Aggressive women and infidelity, that's the whole thing, isn't it? The manner of communication. Maybe it's criticism for the perfectionist people. They tend to see the negatives first. Family, you mean extra family. Expectations that are not discussed. I think that's a big one. But we're talking about divorce. So it's not; these are not correct at the moment, but these are big factors in how a relationship can be dysfunctional. Verbal abuse. Interesting. Not being prepared for marriage. I'm not sure what that means because I don't know how you prepare for marriage sometimes, you know. This is a big topic for me. Individualism, that's selfish, yeah, okay. Gaslighting, lack of self-awareness and not willing to receive therapy. Think you're never the problem. Here we go. This is it. Contempt. Factor. Determine.
Bro, you're Ted Riley, and boy.
Why does
No, your internet is doing Ted Riley, bro. We can't see you, can't hear you. Your thing is Ted Riley right now. We can hear you bits and bouts, but you're Ted Riley in right now. The spirit of Ted Riley be catching you every week, bro. A lack of connection indeed. What happened to divorce them?
Here we go. What's it saying?
You're back.
Am I back now? Am I back?
Oh, yeah. You're back now.
What is Virgin Media saying?
Virgin Media trying to shake you.
So the biggest predictor of divorce is contempt.
The biggest predictor.
So the thing that says, well, this couple, and I'm going to explain what it is, and that will determine whether they will last at all.
Okay.
Contempt is the scariest of the bunch. It concerns any statement or behavior, verbal or non-verbal, that asserts superiority to your partner. An example is that mocking your partner, name calling, eye rolling, showing hostility, insensitive joking, hurtful sarcasm, sneering, disgust, and so on. So when you're attacking someone directly or passively, that will predict just like the cake slapping,
Mm.
whether you will get divorced or not. Contempt. Look it up. The John Gottman study. That video woke me up, and this topic wakes me up. Yeah,
that's real. That's everything. Content. Okay. Interesting. I'm thinking.
Cake slapping. No cake slapping. When you see that, run. Go chase that registrar. When you get cake slapped, you chase that registrar. You tear up them papers quick because you know it's over.
So would the cake slapping come underneath contentment though?
So that's a sense of competition, which determines kind of how you would have conflict. If you have conflict, someone has to always be on top. So it's a sign of, like, you know, if my wife I'm not in a cake slapping game, but if on my wedding day my wife did that to me with some cake, I wouldn't feel that I need to do it back, and I wouldn't make every effort to make sure that my hand gets in her face.
Okay,
you get me.
So you have a different intent though. So let's say that, because again, let's say that you guys are this is your kind of banter. This is you guys banter. Y'all like to banter each other. She puts a cake in your face. You're trying to chase her, put the cake in her face. You know what I'm saying? Like, is that going to be the same as? Because like I said, that video is completely different to what I think of a cake slapping. Like, if you're talking about cake slap, I'm thinking about, you know, you put the cakes on his face and then they smudge a little cake in your face. A bit of fun. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? So I don't know.
But this is it. It's like putting cake in my face and me putting it back in yours is not the issue.
Yeah.
It's the effort you take to make sure that you get me back.
Okay, so like the video. Sorry, like the video. Let me bring it back up again. So we can watch it again, like the video. Because again, that's why I said the force for me was
right.
So she puts in the face. For me, it's the force.
But what does the force represent?
I mean, to be honest, the force for me is representing. Well, I would say the word abuse, but I mean, I think for me that was a really, really scary thing to see.
Because of the force.
Yeah.
You're not saying it, you're not talking about domestic violence, are you?
No, well, I'm not saying it's that yet, but that's for me, that's a straight look at that and going, if they get into DV, I saw where it came from. Because the force that he took, it's like if we're play fighting, right? You can play fight with your girl, right? You play fight with your girl, right? And of course, when you play fight with your girl, sometimes you can use a little bit too much strength. But there's a little bit too much strength, and there is when you go way overboard, right? Where you've lost control. You know what I mean? And at that moment, it looked like he lost control. It looked like he got vexed. Do you know what I'm saying? And it wasn't one hand he used. He actually took both his hands with the cake and did zoo. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wish the video was longer.
Got to get you back, man. Got to get you back.
You know what I'm saying? So, again, even the get you back is, again, intent. What is that I get you back with? Is it I'm trying to get you back with I'm angry, or is it I'm trying to get you back because this is what we're bantering? Do you know what I mean? Like, that he looked like he crossed that line. That's what I'm trying to say. So the same thing would be, the equivalent would be you play fighting with your partner, all right? And let's say by mistake, her leg hits you in the face by mistake, right? Because you play fighting, right? Yeah. And then you literally grab her and then dash her. That would be like, that would show that you're a problem, because this was a mistake. It was a you know what I mean? It was a play fight between you two, and it was never meant to be that forceful. Her leg came by mistake. It hits you. You know, it's the same thing with your brother and sister. This happens when you're siblings. Yeah. You play fight, or, you know, even when you're fighting with your siblings, sometimes you even realize, okay, there's a level that I would never hit you with, because you are not a normal person. You're not someone from the street. You're my brother or my sister or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Some people don't. I know that, but that would be the equivalent of what we're talking about. That some people don't know limits.
So then the question is now, when you see something like that with someone's hands, what do you think they're like verbally?
Well, I mean, physical violence is normally preceded by emotional abuse. Usually, someone doesn't usually go from physical to emotional. They go from emotional to physical. So more than likely, there's probably been some emotional, verbal, you know, abuse there already. And it might not even be like, let's say, like, you know, it'll be more of like putting the person down, like you're saying, being hypercritical, you know, saying comments that don't need to be said, and you know, that kind of level of energy before it gets to that point where they're now caked in the hand. But again, I'm speculating because it may have just been a moment the camera caught and it looks really, really bad. But from just that moment we're looking at, both hands and the force he took, nah, man.
Yeah, he was going to win that one. He was going to win. And I've heard some interesting comments. By the way, we have what's her name? Someone here, Alicia Ahmed. Yeah, send your comment, send your question through, guys. Send your dilemma through. This is it. He wanted to win, and someone says M. Kelly says he wanted to hurt her because he felt pain and embarrassment. So, like you said, you use that word intent, and intent tells us why we're doing something. So we cry for different reasons.
Yeah.
Some people cry because they're in pain. Some people cry because they're happy. Some people cry because they're trying to manipulate a situation.
True.
Yeah. So we're trying to interpret the flags and the behaviors. So for me, that looked at a predictor for divorce, and that was an interesting topic.
But I mean, I get it. I mean, being someone being contemptful, I think I get that. Do you know what I mean? It makes sense, you know. But like you said, it starts small, right? It starts with little things.
Yep.
You know, the way the person perceives you, sees you, the way they even react to certain things about you. Do you know what I mean? And they start off really, really small. It's not always a massive thing. Sometimes it's just a little roof. You know, it's a little tile on the roof that comes down, and before you know it, the whole roof is caved in. So yeah, it makes sense.
And that topic you said about banter with couples, we have to know where to draw the line, how banter should run in our relationship.
Of course.
Everyone's got their different lines.
Yeah.
But banter often signals when someone, again, is trying to compete with the other. So there's a line drawn between fun and competition. And again, it's not me, but the fact is it will determine or predict how likely you are to divorce. And the number one is that power dynamic and how much you belittle someone. A lot of powerful comments coming through, man.
Is okay? So the belittling thing, for instance, is that also dependent upon the fact that depending on sensitivity of individual people, right? Because some people can't take banter at all. Some people can't take a little bit of chat. Do you know what I mean? I'm probably medium. I don't mind a bit of the banter, but you know, if I feel like obviously that banter is hit a sore spot for me, I'm gonna let you know that I hit a sore spot. Now you may not have known that. But that's why I think the conversation then after that has to be a conversation. This is why I think language is so important, and being able to voice what you're thinking and feeling is so important. Because if someone, let's say, I remember in one time situation, I remember a situation where I was dating someone and we were in the yard.
Say no more, bro. Say no more.
We were dating someone and we was in the yard, yeah. And there were I was like, she's a sick singer now. I was a bit insecure about my singing in it. And we're in the house and I started singing, and her friend was like, "Yo, you can sing." And I was like, "Listen, allow me. And then she looked at me and was like, don't expect me to back you." Now, when she said that, I think had it been about anything else, let's say it was about football or something else, I'd have brushed off and been like, "Get out of here, bruv." But because I had an insecurity about my singing, the way I took that comment, fam, I took that comment differently. Cause do you understand? I felt like you're trying to embarrass me and you're trying to destroy me in front of your friend. What for? Do you know what I'm saying? Blood, and I was young then. So listen, what happened after that? I stonewalled good. Listen, the next 3 days, I don't want to hear your voice, I want to see it. Right. But obviously at the end of it, we managed to have a discussion. I explained to why I felt the way I felt. Right. But, you know, and I always remember, like, and I always say this as well, like the action that's been done, what's more important is about how the person responds to when you've been told this hurt me. Right. Because like I said, in banter, you don't know what someone's sore spot is. Let's say I bantered and said, "You got a bald head," and I didn't know that's a sore spot for you. When you come and tell me, "Bro, that's a sore spot for me," I should also be able to say, bro, I am so sorry, bro. I didn't know. Honestly, I was bantering just because I thought we just that we do. I won't mention that thing again there. Do you know what I'm saying? Right. And maybe we can even have a conversation about if there's anything else I shouldn't banter that would be, detrimental to our relationship. That should be a response. But when a response is like, oh, you're being sensitive, that is what you're talking about, where it leads to what we're talking about divorce, because that will build up. Because that person didn't hear you, they didn't feel you, and they didn't understand that in that moment they hurt your feelings. All it needed was an acknowledgement, and then say, okay, my bad, I didn't realize. But like you said earlier on, one of the hardest things is people being self-aware and being able to say, actually, I'm at fault. Some people can't do that.
I agree. But you'll find it out in the dating phase, right? If you don't know in the dating phase what you're doing.
There you go.
If you don't know in the dating phase what you're doing. You need to, Bell K, you need to know your partner's threshold, especially when in public. Man. I've seen a number of couples embarrass their partner just so that everyone can laugh. And me and Juanita are sitting there going, not funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you've got someone who sent a dilemma to you. We can look at it after, but I don't know how they sent it to you.
They should have sent it by email, so it's cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. No, I get that. So it's one of the ones. I've got it. Yeah, I've got it. So fantastic. Yeah, no, yeah, and I'm definitely hearing you on that one. And it's.
What are you thinking, bro?
I'm thinking
that girl.
I can only give examples, isn't it? Because now when you're talking about content, it's making me think, right? So there was a situation maybe a few months after that, and it was me and the girl and her friend, right? And I went to make a joke about, oh, you don't even lend me no money anyway, so I don't know what you're talking about, right? Now for me it was a joke, but I remember also in the back of my mind I was like, no, I need to joke a little bit hard on you just because you got me a little something last few months back. I'm gonna hit you a little bit hard, innit? Now I didn't expect her to turn. I didn't expect her to take it the way she took it, right? I just wanted to give her a little bit of hard banter, right? So when I said it, and then a friend was like, "Right, you don't even lend your man no money." And I was like, "Nah, joking. She showed it. And we walked off, right? And she was like, "Why did you say that?" I was like, "But it's true." I'm bantering, but it's true. You ain't. So she said, "But why'd you have to say that in front of her?" I was like, "I was bantering." She was like, "No, but that's so hurtful." And I was like, hold on a minute. I thought you could take banter. You don't want to always give banter. I thought you could take the banter. So now when I'm bantering you don't like it. And it's like, okay. In that moment, see, that's what you're talking about, the contempt, right? In that moment, I didn't want to concede. I was like, wait, when you banter me and I told you didn't even care. Now when I'm bantering you and it hurts you want me to care. And that's what we're talking about, this contempt that you're talking about, bro, because you harden up. And now I couldn't even go, my bad, should have said,
So if that was in a marriage or relationship, you're on your way out, basically. And it's just a message for all of us. It's a message for the married, the unmarried, right? The dating, the singles, that what you just described is telling you that you either got it real, you're going to have it real rocky later, or you're going to have it real rocky and end. Oh, this is on what show is this?
Man at First Sight.
Is what makes me think a divorce is coming. Sorry. So I think this is true. Yeah. Well, no, but this is a scientific study, the most comprehensive of its nature, where contempt was the biggest predictor. So it's I guess the evidence tells us, hey Kurt, I think he might be coming on in a sec. Let me just message him, man.
No, you do too, man.
Yeah.
Definitely. Obviously, I watched Man at First Sight, so I can talk about it. Yeah, for Mrs. T. Mealy. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I said it myself. Gil and Murder's banter is not for me. It's not for me. But I said people have different thresholds. Okay, I'm not here. I can't. I thought some of the comments that were made sometimes a little bit. You know what I mean? I think both of them. They be so straight talking. For me, it hurts me even listening to them be straight talking. And they're both straight talkers. They'll tell you straight, what they feel. Someone said that's mostly Gil's banter. You say that, but when it was it's Gil's banter. I'll say to you, it's majority Gil's banter in their marriage, right? But this is what we're talking about, contempt, right? I said this last time. I said who when you're, and some girls were saying that, nah, we said to our friends, I said, no, you don't say, I know you don't say like this. Your girl on national television, she's talking to her friend, and her friend comes on the video speaker thing, right? Yeah. And she says, girl, where your eyebrows at? You even done your eyebrows. Da-da-da-da. And obviously she starts laughing after, but I said, that's embarrassing. You've just embarrassed your girl live on television. That's why I said her and Gil are no different. The only difference is in a relationship, she doesn't tend to do that to her man. But he tends to give her that kind of banter. He'll give her that kind of banter in a relationship. But I said, they ain't no different. She just chooses not to do that to her man. But I said, trust me, she'll quickly follow behind. Once all that lovey-dovey thing comes off, it'll quickly follow off, because that's how she is as well. Very straight talking, very to the punch. Give you a comment that, fam, it's true, but it's painful at the same time. Do you know what I'm saying? And they're both like that.
Do you know what? People who claim to be straight talking, the truth is, if they want to have a successful relationship, that they have to get with someone who can take it, or they have to wind it back.
Yeah.
Because they're a minority. Humans feel things. If you look, this is how I am. This is how I am. That kind of mentality is not good when it's two people in the same bed. It's not good. You got to wind it back. And people who don't speak enough, or people who are really sensitive, have to learn to get tough, learn to assert themselves. Everybody has to adjust. When we're looking at two people, you can't just come in as yourself.
Yeah.
This is me. This is how I am. You can't go into any relationship like that. You've got to kind of learn to just wind yourself back. It's not easy, but it needs to be done. Eddie might be coming in a sec.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Do you want to show them the second video, or do you want to wait?
Second video, yeah. Hold on. What's the second video? Wait, bro. Wait. Let me see. The second video. What should we do? So show the second video. We've got questions. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. All right. Let me just see that.
Love in the comments, people.
Yeah.
Talking is my love language, but Gil is on a different.
It gives it to a good. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. It's a bit much for me, but yeah. Who am I? All right. Okay.
Name one thing we underestimate about men. I'll go first.
Parts of your man need to be unlocked. This concept is no different from when women say the right type of healthy leadership, the right type of masculinity will unlock the more feminine aspects of a woman. It'll make her more comfortable, more submissive at times, more nurturing. You love and respect that man correctly. You appreciate that man's efforts in the right way. You have the appropriate response to the highs and lows of y'all's relationship. You will unlock certain levels of that man. And because he's more comfortable, because he has confidence in being unlocked, the health of the relationship will skyrocket.
Name one thing we underestimate about men. I'll go first. Name one thing we underestimate.
What's thoughts there?
Two things come to mind. Marrying potential. Dating potential. Seeing the potential in someone and thinking, can I get from this person greater than what they are? Or do I need to see the finished product first? And can I stimulate greater? Can I stimulate? And then the other thing is, can I stimulate what I want from someone? Well, it goes both ways. But yeah, for my man. Man or woman.
Yeah. No, I think it's definitely true. I think it's definitely true to some degree. I think different people bring out different things out of people, good or bad. In this particular case that he's talking about, I think if he's talking about some women bringing out more of the man side out of him, I mean, there's varying degrees of that to be true. I think, a good woman will bring out, the best in you, but that best was already there. You know what I mean? It just needed a little bit of a push and to cultivate the seed that's already there. I'm not a fan of cultivating stuff where the seed's not already in there. You know what I mean? Like there is none. There's no, and the word potential actually means that there is already something as already existing. You know what I mean? You're fulfilling something that's already existing. It's not coming from nothing. Do you know what I mean? So when people are saying I see potential, do you see potential? Because the person should already be working towards what you're talking about. Not that they're saying they're working towards it, but they should already be working towards it, right? So if you're saying I can see a potential he's going to be a millionaire, yeah, because you can see that he's already started the business, or he started, you know, working on different hustles, and you can see some level of success. He hasn't reached that final milestone, he or she, but you can see that he's already started the process of working it. Can't tell me now this is potential that when he gives you an idea, I want to take the horse and the cart outside, but hasn't got a horse or a cart, and, you know, hasn't even got no land to till. And he's like, yeah, I want to be a farmer. Brother, where is the horse? Where's the cart? Where's the seeds? Where's the land? You ain't got none of it, right? You know, so
you and I, we've spoken about this before. I don't know how much I agree with you.
I remember we disagreed last time. Remember we said we disagreed last time. Yeah, we disagreed last time. Yeah, I'm saying that because you're taking a massive risk. You know, you're taking a massive risk by doing that, and you're playing pot luck at that rate. It could work out. You know, it could work out. Like, people use Obama as potential issue. He's not potential. Obama is not potential. He was schooling at one of the highest schools in America. It's not like he was at a low R school. He was at a very prestigious school alongside Michelle. Do you know what I'm saying? He already had his place where he was already going. Now, he might not have been president, but he was going in an upward trajectory already. Do you know what I mean? So that's not necessarily the kind of potential people are talking about, because that person already had an existence of structure and trajectory. A lot of times when we're talking about potential, they're talking about literally nothing being there and just air. You know what I mean? Eddie's here. Let me bring on, and we can talk some more. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Hello, Master Eddie. You right? Yeah.
I'm good.
Yo, don't worry, man. It gets
my alarm clock stick, boy. My alarm clock just stick.
It gets us all, bro. Don't even worry, bro.
Let me do the pre intro for Eddie.
Man, no, man.
No.
Eddie,
Eddie, come on. I have to do this. So Eddie is the man that married me in 2001. Married me and my wife.
Yeah. I didn't marry you.
You know what time it is. He married Juanita and I in 2001. Eddie is a teacher's teacher and a leader's leader. Okay. Who is Eddie? I'd allow Eddie to introduce himself. He's not a trumpet blower, but he's gonna blow it today.
Come on now.
Hi everyone, my name is Eddie Hippolyte. I am the youngest of 10 children, 8 living. I am the son of the late and anointed and brilliant and fabulous Mrs. Phyllis Margaret Hippolyte. I am a pastor by vocation. I am a consultant. I'm currently an author. I live in Australia with my wife. This is my 28th year of marriage. I have a brilliant 17-year-old who is sitting their final exams beginning next week. And I've known Curtis and Juanita and loved them forever. So yeah, I think that's my claim to fame. Yeah.
So look, we're gonna dive straight in.
I'll show him. Do you want to show the video
please,
so you can see it? Where
please,
you can get up to speed as well. Okay.
You're on the spot now, bro. We're looking at potential.
Sorry. All right, so I'll play this video again.
Yeah.
So we get a little bit look.
Name one thing we underestimate about men. I'll go first.
Parts of your man need to be unlocked. This concept is no different from when women say the right type of healthy leadership, the right type of masculinity will unlock the more feminine aspects of a woman. It'll make her more comfortable, more submissive at times, more nurturing. You love and respect that man correctly. You appreciate that man's efforts in the right way. You have the appropriate response to the highs and lows of y'all's relationship. You will unlock certain levels of that man. And because he's more comfortable, because he has confidence in being unlocked, the health of the relationship will skyrocket.
Name one thing we underestimate about men.
I'm gonna bring it to here so we're all one alignment.
You see, this topic for me, and you know why it means a lot to me, is because I think my wife took a risk on me
Let's go.
in potential, and I'm just wondering. And I could ask her, but I'd still not fully comprehend the potential that she saw. And I think maybe in our youth, we probably don't realize how much we don't see. But I think that just seeing someone with a good heart is enough. And if they have a dream of a field that they want to plant in, and they're speaking about the field that they want to plant in, and they have no horse, maybe just a cart, I think that's beautiful right there. That's me.
I remember back in the day, we used to, the old school man is to talk about in relationship and talking about man trolling the woman. Man troller, you know, virgin. Man troller, you know, not controller, man troller. And I thought about that in my later years. And I think that every woman wants to be man trolled. They want to be man trolled. However, they only want to be man trolled because I believe that in a relationship, there's something that a woman sees in a man that she just gives her whole self to. She's relaxed with. You know what I mean? There's something about that man that just inspires her, something about that man that just like, you know, and it's more than just the superficial things about the way he looks and the way he dresses and the way he talks, you know. They are the deeper things about, you know, his value, the deeper things about the way in which he protects her secrets, the way in which her heart feels safe around him, you know, as well as those other external things. But I feel that when a woman finds a man that her heart is safe with, her aspirations are safe with, she looks down the future, and she sees, yeah, I'm safe with this guy. I look down the future and I can see that I'm safe with this guy. She'll say, yeah, man, troll it, Richard, man, troll it, you know, because she feels safe in doing that. And I think that's one of the things that a woman can underestimate in a relationship, the same way a man underestimates, because men kind of do it naturally. Men go into a relationship and they say, yeah, control the thing. Yeah, you know, because a woman gives her heart, but a man gives his will. That's what a man gives. A woman gives her heart to a man, but a man gives his will as well as his heart to a woman. And so I think, like in both spaces, once they understand that they're safe, once they understand that they're secure, once a woman understands that she's secure, yeah, she'll give that over. Because, you know, I think that's the nature of love. Love is other-centered. Love isn't self-centered. But we fear giving our love in a other-centered way to a person who is self-centered. That's just a dangerous arrangement. So yeah, that's I know that with Yvonne, you know, I can give my heart and my will. Now, I know if Christians listening, no, you must only give your will to God. What kind of heresy you're chatting there? Quiet, man. You know, I'm not talking about giving my soul to my wife. I'm talking about giving my soul to my wife, you know. But yeah, there has to be a certain level. We couldn't have lasted 28 years unless that happened on that level, that we both give that deeply. Into each other and of each other. So yeah, that's my take. That's my take with that.
This is interesting because I guess I think that safety allows us to give birth to gives us more capacity to work with potential.
Mm.
And sometimes potential is like even a mustard seed size, and that isn't necessarily trustworthy to every eye. But I like what you said in that safety. I think that particularly with women, safety means anything is possible.
Yeah, and everybody has potential. Everybody's potentially the one. I think I've said that when I talked with you, and
I did have it down to talk about, but we'll see if we get there. I don't know.
Yeah. Everyone has potential, and everyone is potentially the one. Not everybody wants to put in the work to be the one, though. Yeah. Not everybody wants to put in the work to make that one come to the level, to make that one level up. But everyone's got that potential. No matter how scarred your heart is, no matter how difficult your relationships have been, we all have the ability to heal. We all have the opportunity to find healing and to repair those breaches, repair those gaps, plug those gaps. It's just whether or not we want to do the work. And then once again, like I said, it goes down to doing the work with somebody that you can trust. Somebody that you can trust your heart
to realize the dream.
Yeah.
Because potential is a dream. It's you can see a spark, but the dream is the fire. And potential is something that isn't here yet. That's what I guess.
Well, potential is something that is always, it's a dream, but it's a dream that's always in the work.
Come on.
You know what I mean? When you look at somebody and you look at a young footballer and you say, oh yeah, that kid's got potential. You know what I mean? The potential is built on what you're actually seeing in the person. You know what I mean? You're actually seeing the way they work. You're seeing the way they run. You're seeing the way, you may see in the way they sing. You may see the way they actually do math, or, they may approach something and you're like, oh, snaps, this person has actually got something in them. So it's not like potential is happening in a vacuum. Potential is happening based on something that you've seen. And you can all right, we can grow this tree. This tree has potential because I can see what the shoot looks like. I can see where the roots are going. All right, let's grow this tree. You know what I mean? But you have to actually see something in order to know that there's potential there.
No, go ahead.
No. That's what I'm saying.
And I was going to say that there is a fine line, though, and I think Kojo, you alluded to this before, where you create the potential from nothing, which is what you said earlier on. You are looking at a potential in someone, and there is no evidence or suggestion that there is potential there. So when you said, Eddie, we're looking at that young footballer, the young kid, the football scouts looking at him, he's got a gift. He couldn't play in a real game. He couldn't play in a big boy game. But sometimes, and I believe this happens, Coach, a lot, where there is a fantasy stroke delusion. I'm seeing potential in something that they don't even have a football. They don't even have a paintbrush, but you say they're an artist. And we are fully engaged in that relationship, hoping for that potential, and there's zero.
Yeah, I agree that 100%. And again, I think it's been alluded to in the comment section. I think age plays a big part in this. You know what I mean? You 40 and you want to do the potential stuff. I'm like, we don't even live that long. So you're 40 and we're trying to do potential. My friend, listen, go somewhere, sit, get it all sorted. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I just think to myself, I think if you're in the early 20s, I get it. It's a difference. There's a difference in terms of mindset. There's a difference in terms of time and season that you're in. There's a maturity stage that's totally different. Do you know what I mean? Those things have got to be factored into your decision making. You know what I mean? But as the example was given about the footballer, well, he's already to see the scout. The scout has to see him. The scout would have seen him play football. Would have seen him touch ball. would have seen him how his movement is, would have watched him for 90 minutes at least. There'd have been some observations that are being made around him to be able to say, okay, he can shoot with the right foot, he can't shoot the left foot, he can dribble well, he can't dribble well. Now, there may be need for more observations to be able to assess accurately at a full spectrum just how great the potential could be. Right, but from just looking at the person, a person can make a deduction in terms of, okay, they're playing for a club. Okay, I've seen them play. Okay, I've seen there's some potential there. Right. I think that the trouble here is that a lot of people don't observe. That's the key part of seeing if someone's got potential is the being observing of the individual person, giving that person scope and time to see whether they're saying whatever they're saying holds true and whether there's some validity to what they're saying. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're 20 here, coming out talking about you want to get married and everything, I'm good. Do you understand? Cool. But then I'm looking at it from a perspective of, obviously now in the modern day and age as well. I'm looking at the perspective. Okay, great. I love the fact you want to get married. Okay, you where are you going to? Where are you going to? I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm saying where are you going to? And I'm saying it's different. Listen, Curtis, I always say this. I don't make exceptions rules. Right? Because sometimes people are an enigma. They are unique. They are one of a few bunch that do something that breaks the rules, right? And that's fine. But the general consensus of when you see men who haven't got it together, don't know where they're going, oftentimes these guys end up wasting time. And the reason why is because that woman doesn't have also, at the same time, at that age group, that woman doesn't also have the tools and resources also as well to determine what does this man need to get to where his next step is. So you're now asking her also to do another job too. She hasn't got that expertise skill either. Because if any of my girlfriends who met me when I was 20, listen, if I knew, even me, didn't even know I was going to get to where I am now. Do you understand? So for a woman to have seen the potential to me, it's fine. She could have seen it. But would she have known what I needed to get me to there? Or would I have killed her on the journey? You know what I mean? A lot of men ain't got that. You know what I mean?
I feel like in so many ways, we're just not taught emotional literacy. We're not taught emotional literacy. We're taught financial literacy, but we're just not taught how to. We're not taught how to love. We're not taught either by mentoring. We're not taught sometimes just by example. We're not taught by we're just not taught how to love. And so and I'm not using this as an excuse. I'm just I'm just saying that there needs to be, and I suppose this is a perfect platform that is actually teaching it. Some of us have actually grown up in families. I grew up in a family where everything that I've learned it's just based on what I deserved to see when I was a kid.
What does that mean?
I've learned about being a parent. This is what I deserve. My dad wasn't around. He left when I was 5, never came back home again. And so when just before I got married, I was convinced I was going to fail. And Spirit said to me, "What did you deserve to see, Eddie?" And I listed the things that I deserved to see. He said, "All right, well, marry the girl and I'll teach you to do that as you go on." You know what I mean? And so I feel like I suppose these are the opportunities in which we actually find some way of learning how to love, learning what it means to love, learning what it means to learning what it means to grow ourselves in love, meaning what it means to grow love out of us. Somebody asked the question, well, what if the roots were good back there? I think what if the roots were good, but the fruit is bad? Well, the fruit is going to be whatever the roots are. So if the fruit are bad, then the roots are bad.
Absolutely.
A good tree doesn't give bad fruit. You know what I mean? A good tree doesn't give bad fruit. And so and people may say, well, so there ain't no help in that. I'm just like, people are different than the example is there. If the fruits are bad, then the roots are bad. So don't address changing the fruits, dress dealing with the roots. You know what I mean? Address dealing with the ground that tree is planted in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What ground is it planted in? What environment? What kind of water is it getting? What kind of heat is giving it its nutrients? You know, is it planted under the sun, or is it just planted under artificial lights that are giving it a false sense of that it's drawing false power from, that it's drawing false energy from? And we can go on. That's the beautiful thing about these illustrations when it comes to us as human beings, because we are redemptive. We are redemptive. We can be redeemed. Our hearts can be redeemed. We can learn to love. You know what I mean? We can learn to go from being somebody with no responsibility to a total responsibility, somebody who's totally afraid to love and commit, to somebody who openly just embraces that love and commitment, if we are willing to do the work, if we are willing to learn, you know. So,
well, we know that if you nurture that plant,
yeah,
you will bear good fruit. What do you think about the comment that we've got on the screen? Having a tough childhood makes you a lot more cautious about potential, because you don't want that struggle love.
Yeah, you don't want that struggle love, but you still want love. You don't want the struggle love, but you still want love. And that's where you have to kind of, never want the struggle love. You know what I mean? But even though we've had tough childhoods, you know, a tough childhood should never exempt us from deserving the things that our hearts need. You know, it shouldn't deserve it. It shouldn't exempt. You know, we shouldn't feel that we are exempt, or we're you know, this will never be for us. No, it has to be for us. Our hearts deserve that too. Our hearts deserve that too. You know. So, but I do. I'd
like to say that I like the comment actually, Aisha, that if we are dented, damaged from a tough childhood, then we may have to struggle to get that love. And I want to encourage people that they may that love doesn't just always fall on a plate. You gotta nurture it. Like if we're talking about plants now, you gotta, you know, the fruits aren't too good. I don't want a plant that's got bad fruit. Actually, maybe there's nothing like redeeming a plant. And I'm not encouraging people out there to go and grab every broken man and try and heal that man or woman, you know, but there's nothing like healing a broken plant and looking back and saying, look, do you know what the plant looked like? When Juanita met me, I was that plant. Just want to say that there.
Listen, when my wife met me, I wasn't even a plant. I was a shrub, but my roots were good. My roots were good, but you know, I'd come from another life into the life that I was in. You know, I had to ask her father permission to even go out with her. You know, I had to ask her dad permission. I was like, hold on, I'm a 25-year-old man. She's like, if you want to go out with me, you need to come to my house and ask my dad's permission. I don't know what to tell you. And then he gave me permission. Kojo, 2 years later, when I asked that man, can I marry your daughter? The man literally went like this. No. And then he realized we were serious and he said, hold on, you're serious? No. Man, throw me out the house, brother. Man, throw me out the house. He told me, you ain't got nothing that you can offer my daughter. You ain't got nothing that you can offer my daughter. You're a nice guy. You speak well. You read well. You know, you got a good mind, but you don't have nothing to offer my daughter. But his daughter saw what was actually growing now. She saw what was growing now.
Was there any fantasy or delusion in that?
No, there wasn't no fantasy of delusion in that. You know what I mean? Because even though I didn't have everything that in my mind I knew was coming to me, you know, my heart had changed. And I was committed to the change that my heart had experienced. So I was putting in the work in the direction, and I knew that my life was going to catch up with my heart. My life was going to catch up with the change that my heart was now gone through. And, you know, she said to her dad, this is the one. This is the one. You know, and he held out for about a year. He was like, nah. But we was planning the wedding. You know, we was planning the wedding same way. And then, well, not for about a year, for about 6-7 months. And then he just came around. He just realized, all right, you two are serious. And like, yeah, now I, you know, dad is my dad. He's been more of a dad to me in 28 years than my father was to me in 56 years. You know, I love him dearly. He is my father. He has become, as it were, my father. And so, like, and the relationship between us is a beautiful relationship. But it meant that I had to put in the work. I had to put in the work. I had to put in the work on my heart for myself, not just for her, but for myself, you know. And so for her, it was beautiful to see me put in the work. It was encouraging for her to see me put in the work, you know. And she was there to water the plant and make sure the ground around me was good. But her thing was like, boy, you got to grow. you got to grow, you know. So yeah, that's my journey with that. Yeah, that's my journey with that.
When you just you don't have to answer this, maybe I don't know if it's too deep. When you say you had to grow in that year, what was your wife's father looking for? What was he looking for in you? What was he hoping to see in you?
Anything. Oh, Joe, I didn't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of.
Word.
Brother, anything. You got to understand, yeah, when I met my wife, yeah, my wife already had a first degree. My wife was a cardiac physiologist. My wife was on her 5th car and her 4th BMW in 5 cars, you know, and literally I didn't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. I had come from another life where I was good, lucratively, but in this life that I wanted to live now, I literally had to start again from scratch. I had to go back to college. I had to go back to college, you know what I mean, at 25, you know, just to go and study community social work and become a social worker, become a residential social worker. We got married and then boom, I went off to university. And, you know, having married her, I think what he was looking for was, are you going to be more than all I'm seeing now?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what he was looking for. Are you going to be more than all I'm seeing now? But then he saw, yeah, like, am I going to be more? I am more than all you're seeing now. Am I going to be more? You know, because even though I didn't have all of that kind of stuff, what I did know was that I'm Eddie Hippolyte. You know what I mean? I may not have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of, but I am Eddie Hippolyte. You know, my life and my mind and my spirit affirmed who I was and what that meant. And I knew that the potential that had come alive in me was now growing, you know. And then he saw that. He saw it, and he saw it early, you know. So, you know, since then, you know, I've become everything and more. He will tell you, no, boy, you became much more than what I saw, you know. You know, and you know, and we've had a good life. We've had a difficult. Oh man, we've had difficulties, and she's loved me way past my love by date. You know what I mean? But yeah, you know, I don't know. I just feel like for those of us, especially those of us who have come up without, you know, because what I realize here, Kojo, what we miss as sons with our fathers especially as sons with our fathers, is we miss that person who enables us to make sense of ourselves. Yeah, why do I think this way? Why do I act this way? Why don't you know what I mean? And your father's the one who comes alongside. Well, you act that way because of this. You know what I mean? You know, this is me rolling up inside you. Actually, that's your granddad rolling up inside you. Well, how did you deal with it, Dad? Well, I dealt with it this way. You know what I mean? All right. And just give you the tools. You know what I mean? Because I realized that's what all the times I thought to myself, I'm never going to be like my dad, never going to be like my dad. You know what I mean? When I was recording my mom's life story, and my mom was telling me stories about my dad. Joe, my dad spat me out. Even though I did not grow up with my dad, I was that man in ways. And it's a good thing that my mom was blind, because if she wasn't, when she was telling me, I was literally sitting behind the camera, just weeping, but quietly. I couldn't make her know that I was crying. Jeez, I am this man in the worst way. And that's what we miss. That's what we miss. We miss that person who enables us to make sense of ourselves.
I agree.
You know, I said, you know, I remember my daughter in year 7. She was just like a wildfire burning. And I said to her, you feel like you're just out of control in it. I said, baby, listen, you know what you are? You are a superhero who hasn't figured out how to use their superpowers yet. My job and your mom's job is to figure out how to help you recognize and use your superpowers. And I feel that that's what we miss. You know what I mean? The moment I told her, I started to feel emotional. She started to tear up. I started to tear up. And I realized, all right, that's what I missed. I missed the older, you know, Kalal, you know, helping, you know, that young Clark Kent, you know, no, these are your superpowers and this is how you use your superpowers. And I think that's what we miss. And that's why we take so long to grow into our potential. And that's why if male, you know, I'm sorry to rant on with this.
No, it's good stuff.
It's already can feel it coming. I'm going to stop talking because I'm going to start getting emotional in a minute. I feel like for the young boys who are growing up, who don't have their fathers growing up around them, we need to find significant male figures, Coach. You know what I mean? Who will travel with them. I don't believe in this mentoring, because mentoring is like, I'm in your life for 6 months and then later. We need to lick in with these boys then from like year 6 and stay with them until the end of secondary school. So through those really formative years, you know what I mean? Through those really formative years, we can help steer them. We can, when their powers come up, you know, and they don't know how to deal with it, we can recognize and help them, and we can have the conversations with the important peoples in their lives and know how to kind of mentor them and how to guide them through those periods. Because I realized that that's what we miss. That's what we miss, and that's why we take so long to grow into our potential. I feel like I would have grown into my potential years ago if my dad would have been around to make me see, no, boy, this is why you do this. This is why you do it. When my mom was telling me stories, and she was telling me stories, and my mom died last year at 95. So she was telling me these stories in her 90th year, Koja. And she was telling me stories about my great grandmother, great grandmother on my dad's side. And I was like, brown dog. Just like that's literally us as Hippolyte men. Like, what? I thought, like, that's literally that level of who she was, her persona, her power. You know what I mean? You know, her personality. You know, I'm thinking, oh, you come from a man. No, I come from this woman here. Come down through that line. I was like, and that's what we don't have people to know how to link that up, because it all comes down, you know. And this isn't me saying that I don't have agency. You know, my dad was an alcoholic. Yeah. So I was like, oh, no. And that's why I never drank.
Same
As a
here.
youth, I mean, never drank. You know what I mean? I may have a little tit that, but never drank. And in our crew, we never allowed drinkers. Never allowed drinkers, you know. But boy, was I addicted to weed, bro. God. You know, so whether it be alcohol, whether it be weed, the potential for the addiction was there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, the addiction manifested itself in other things. You know, so yeah. Sorry. To go on.
No.
I mean, whatever you do for a living now, you need to just stop all that and just do this, bro. This is what you need to be doing. Do you get me?
Say again?
Whatever you do for a living, whatever your hustle is, end that hustle now. This is what you do. You should be doing. This is your thing right here.
Leave our brother alone, man. He's working it out, man.
I mean,
well, I speak about it in my
come on, hold it up, bro, so we can see. This is the space for it, man. You have a book.
Mm-hmm.
You brought the whole sermon. You have a book.
Eddie brought the whole sermon today. And shout out to Donovan Genius, man. D, we met at university 28 years ago. We've been family ever since, man. Love that guy. I know all Black Englishmen don't know each other.
It's feeling like that a little bit, though.
Although we all sound the same.
Yeah.
Oh, that was your mate. I saw that comment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. That's my family.
Yeah,
right
man.
there, man. D, that's my family right there.
That's
You know, as soon as you lot got your mic right in the show, I'm gonna lift mine up and just put it
In
here.
No, it's because bring it to the camera. Get me. Get to the camera. You know what? Okay, so I'm a person. I like to break things down. Do you know what I'm saying? So the nuggets can be eaten by small tidbits. You know what I mean? Yeah. He said some very big stuff. Okay.
Sorry.
No, it wasn't bad. It was good. Great stuff. I want to make it even smaller so that people can take it all in. Do you know what I mean? So when you were talking about, obviously, because so we're talking about potential, right? Because we're talking about potential. Yeah. So listen, because what I heard, Eddie, you were like miles ahead of a lot of guys. I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'll tell you why. If you already said that in a previous life you didn't say it, but you said it. You're hustling, right? Hustler spirit. It just needs to be turned over to the right dimension. You always had a hustler spirit. You can see when someone's got a hustler spirit. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, even your potential would have been different from someone else's one. Because if you've got that, if you could have done it on this side, on the left hand side, right? It's more than likely you can do it on the right hand side. More than likely. Because all it is transferable skills.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So although you didn't have the pot to piss in and the window to throw it out, you had the skills loaded. It just needed direction and it needed somewhere to be put into.
Yeah. But what does that look like when it's at seed level? When it's at a shoot level? What does it look like?
It's up here. You see,
For who?
For everyone. For everyone.
So when a woman is looking at a man in that stage, what do they see?
What they should be looking for, I believe, what they should be looking for is, like I said, number one, is his mindset. What's his mindset? You know what I'm saying? And what's the promised goals that he said he's going to be setting? Is he even trying to hit them? Right? Because that's what I said about the structure and the work that's getting done. Like he said, he was doing the work, right? But I can tell you now, you can see someone's work ethic. Do you know what I'm saying? If someone's got a poor work ethic, you can see they've got a poor work ethic. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to look too long. You just look at them and like, this person hasn't got a strong work ethic, man. So what they're saying, they might not do what they're saying they're going to do. Do you know what I mean? Not only that, your integrity to other things, right? If you said you're going to do something, does he do it? If he said it in this area, does he do it? If he said he's going to do it here, does he do it? Forget the money stuff. In general, how does he operate? How does he hold himself? Because those things are the most important things, because money can go today and it could be here tomorrow, right? But the heart of the person, are they integral? That's what that's what women should be looking for, is the integrity of that individual person and being able to do as he says, even if it's a small step. They should be seeing that, and that's what I'm talking about. That Eddie would have had a huge head start, because already he already has a business mindset. He's done it on the left hand side. He just needs to transfer it to the other side.
And other things as well, Coach. Like, is he able to say sorry?
That's a big
and
word.
then just like
Some of us got pride.
yeah, my bad, sorry. Yeah, is he able to say sorry and then just learn from that? You know what I mean? And not repeat that. You know, are you able to take his sorry and and then not bring it up again? He said sorry, don't bring it up again. You know what I mean? Like in a later argument, oh well, look, you're doing that again. Like, well, no, I'm not actually doing that again. Well, it feels like you're going to be doing that again. Oh, come on now. I said sorry, and we're done with that. Let's move on from that. I've learned from that. I'm not going to bring that into that space. Are you going to allow space around you for and around him for that growth, around each other for that growth? You know what I mean? And so yeah, yeah, that just to add that to your point, I really did like that point, Kojo. I really did like that point.
I'm a hustler.
Yeah.
Hustler, baby.
You made that song come into my mind now. Yeah, I think as well. Yeah, I think as well that we find ourselves. We all find ourselves in that in spaces where, all right, what does the next season of me look like? I've come from here to here. All right, what does here now look, and what have I learned from there? All right, I'm going into the next one. What have I learned? And I think that we have to make ourselves available to do that. I think it was Ayan Lavan San. She said we go from season to season, relationship to relationship, year to year, job to job, marriage to marriage. She said without ever pausing, like without ever pausing, just to just to figure out who was I in that last space.
We said that last week.
Yeah.
And so, what happens to women who don't have that female figure,
that male figure,
to feel like he needs to be deemed worthy?
I think it's in relation to your situation a little bit, but asking generally.
What happens to a woman who doesn't have that male figure for a man to feel like he needs to be deemed really worthy to marry his daughter?
Yeah.
I'm trying to make sense of the question.
Yeah, so I kind of understand that. Yeah. What happens to her? What happens
if
to her?
If she doesn't have that male figure, how does
she doesn't have that male figure like that stands over and says, "No, you ain't worthy to marry my daughter." She has a mother. Does she have uncles? Does she have other male figure? I know that there are. I have one daughter. I have one child. But I also have surrogate daughters. They're like in their 30s, and when they're in relationships, they know that it cannot be in a relationship, and they don't run the relationship by me, and they will run their relationships by me. They don't have a dad to do that. I am dad who does that. You know what I mean? And they've given me permission to do that. And we've journeyed long enough for them to trust my opinion and to trust my heart for them, to trust my love for them. I've got young guys, same way, not grown with their fathers, but I am that father figure. You know what I mean? With that. And I feel like, at my age, for my generation, I'm 56 now. I feel like for our generation, that is our responsibility to be those fathers, whether they be surrogate fathers, whether they be, no, all right, I'm giving you responsibility here. And like I said, these are people that I've traveled with now, and I've known them and journeyed with them since they were teenagers, young girls and young boys. And, they're into their 30s now, their mid-30s. And today they will, they will run somebody by me. They'll run a name by me, So I feel like in this case, does she still have a mother who will say that? Does she still have that person that will say that? Does she have uncles that are feeding into her life? Are there significant male figures in her life that have seen her grow and love her in that way, that you will give permission? Like, yeah, keep your eyes on this. And what's your opinion of that? I think that's important. You know, we love in community. We grow in community. You know, what's the community that is growing up around that child's heart and around that child's aspirations? I think that's important. I think.
Can I add something in there? I think to this question, I'm bouncing off what you're saying, Ed. I think if it's just the mum that's around, parents, it's so important that the relationships you have with your children is conducive to teaching them about how they live. And so the way that we have relationships in our homes with our daughters and sons informs them about how they have relationships, but also informs them how to make choices and how resilient they become in relationships. And our relationships can either drive them towards someone who's worse than us, or it can drive them to keep their eyes open. This is where I am now. And Ed is taking 18 years, shielding and shielding and shielding. It doesn't work too well. But now I'm just guiding. Waiting, not that she will, but waiting for the mistakes so that when she falls, I go and pick her up. If it's 100 times, it's 100 times. Which is teaching her that that's what men do.
Yeah. You know, my daughter knows that I get mad, and, you know, as a father, my wife knows I'll get, you know, frustrated as a husband. They know that I'll burn down the whole planet for them. I will come through the place like Thanos. You know what I mean? Listen, brother, you know. There's two questions here in the two statements here in the
we have a dilemma for you. Just after these questions, we have a dilemma that we want to address.
So just to Tiffany, Eddie, would it hit different if your mother-in-law would have said you can't marry her daughter? Girl, when the dad threw me out, the whole clan of them had a family meeting. Mother, father, grandparents, multiple grandparents. Everybody except one of the grandfathers said, "Nah, in my figure." Would it hit different? Listen, it was a universal. No, enough. Yeah, this has to end.
The whole host of heaven.
The whole host of heaven said, "No, this has to end." So yeah, it hit different. It was like a complete thing. But it still happened. But it still happened. It still happened. AO Logs. There's a girl at work who keeps touching me without my consent. She's clearly attracted to me, and I realize because I don't. I realize because her dad's absent. I could easily take advantage. It's a good job that I don't like her. Yeah, but you like being touched. Because you didn't say there's a girl who used to touch me. You said there's a girl who keeps touching me.
Brother.
So you are taking advantage.
No prisoners.
You are taking advantage. Bruv, if you don't love the girl, if you don't like the girl that way, then just say, sis, like, you know, yeah. You like being touched. You like the attention. You know, and this ain't me disrespecting you. This is me just relating to what you've just said here. If you don't like the girl that way, then ask the girl, sis, look, you know, it ain't that kind of thing, you know. Yeah. Don't make the girl touch you, because the mere fact that you're not saying anything means that for the girl, because she's sending out her signals, and you ain't saying anything else about her signals. You ain't saying anything contrary to her signals. So as far as she knows, all right, it's a green light. If it ain't a green light, let her know it's a red light. Let her know it's a red light. And stop taking advantage of her. Stop taking advantage of her. It was a straight up family coalition, ML. Straight up family coalition.
Why?
Coach.
You know, this is that channel that just You know what? We're too old. We're too. You have to call it out for what it is, and don't get me wrong.
Kojo, one time my auntie came from Grenada, and she saw me. She hadn't seen me in a lot years, and she said, "Oh gosh, boy, you get big. You get so big, you look short." I was just like, "Thanks, auntie." I was just like, you're making me feel like I'm at that age where you just say it, you know. But auntie just like, "Boy, you get so big, you look short, man. What's wrong with you, man?" I'm like, "Thanks, auntie. Thanks for helping
Mercy.
me."
Mercy. So you're gonna say, Kurt? Sorry, go for it.
I was just going to bring a dilemma, bro.
Oh, it's a bit of a dilemma. Yeah, no worries.
Allow those questions today. We just go straight in.
Oh my days. Okay.
So this is a question from someone who's a viewer. We don't know. I don't know what it is, but here we go.
Okay. Let me just let you guys see my screen a little bit. Cool. There we go. All right. So let me show you my screen so you guys can see. Don't know what's going on there. All right. Cool.
Eddie, you need to take Pastor Kyle's position on Married at First Sight. Just saying.
That's
I
right.
mean,
I was wondering, what is maths? Marriage at first sight. All right.
Absolutely.
come on, man.
All right. I don't know if you guys can you guys see that? Do you need to pick bigger?
Yeah.
We try.
Let me see if I can get
That's
it.
it. That's better. Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, I'll move it. That says do it. All right. It says, hi guys. I've been married for 3 years now. I've had trust issues with my husband, and I've found inappropriate messages from females he claims are his friends. He's on a dating site and sends nudes. Yay. When I confront him, he gets mad, calls me insecure and crazy. He's more upset that I go through his phone. And he doesn't have privacy, which I understand, but that is because I don't trust him. We had a massive argument a few months ago, and I told him to leave. We have a 6-month-old, and he comes to visit and says he wants his family back, but I don't believe him. I found out recently he has a new female friend that he talks to every day for hours. I don't believe he cares about our marriage, or his actions will be different. What do you guys think?
By the way, that's real. I'm just letting you know.
Shirley Brown, I think it was in her album, Woman to Woman. Classic album. If you've never listened to it, Shirley Brown, Woman to Woman, it is a classic album. Brilliant album. There's a track on it called It Ain't No Fun. And the hook is, it ain't no fun being in love all by yourself when the one you love loves someone else. And I think one of the dilemmas with love is understanding when love has run its course.
What does that mean?
Yeah, love has run its course.
What does that mean?
Well, I do believe that love is eternal. I believe that love can conquer all things. Love, I believe all the things that Corinthians says that love is. But I believe that only happens in the person who chooses for that to happen. You know what I mean? So if you're married to somebody, they're on a dating site and they're sending nudes, they're with you, but not in a way that they love you. They may love the idea of having a family, but you and the family, they don't love. They love the idea of what they have, because love invests itself in a space. And, if you've had a separation, he says he wants to come back, but you found out that he's got somebody else. Love has run its course. Love is robust enough. Love is strong enough. Love is brave enough to know when it's time to call it a day. It is. You know what I mean? Now, and I agree with David in this. If he's willing to put in the work of going through counseling, personal counseling, not marriage counseling, personal counseling, he's willing to get into therapy and do the work to figure out why it is he's approaching life this way, why is he's approaching responsibility this way, why is he's approaching love this way. If he's willing to do all of that, and then he's willing to get into marriage counseling, if you're willing to get into therapy and address your trust issues, why is that you have trust issues? What created that? What is the residue of that that's rolled over into this relationship? So he's having to deal with your trust issues. If you're willing to get that therapy, and then having got that therapy, the both of you are willing to come into each other's space and now have that marriage therapy where you can put that to work, then love is going to work. But if you're not willing to do that, love has run its course. Love has run its course.
100.
Love for you has run its course. It's run its course. You know what I mean? And so, and you have to be just brave enough to you have to be brave enough and strong enough to do that. And as somebody said here, all of those are big ifs. They're big ifs. But yeah, if it's possible to. But that's my feeling on that. Just listening to it, if a couple came to my wife and I, that's the counsel that we would give them. All right, both of you need to go into separate therapy, and once you've had that therapy, you need to come into family therapy. You know what I mean? If you're not willing to do that, then all right, just pick up your hearts and go separate ways. But once you've gone your separate ways, get the therapy. Yeah.
Still.
Yeah. Get the therapy still. It may not work for the two of you, but it may work later on down the line. You may be better people, So go and get that therapy. Definitely go and get that therapy. Him for how he is and her for her trust issues.
I want to address something that Sing Pray Lover said there. It's easy to say that to her, but she's a new mother, and I would say, please seek help and heal. It's unacceptable how she is, but there is more to this story, of course.
Of course.
But what's interesting to this is that because when someone says they've got trust issues and now like, give me your phone, I want to see your phone, as if it's any sense of security there, right?
Makes it worse.
It is. I've seen relationships where one partner is now moving the power imbalance to now manage the other person who they don't trust. That is a dead end move. And no relationship can exist on that level of insecurity. It's an act. And so my advice is, and it's bouncing off Eddie's point, you got to get yourself strong and be willing to make some decisions based around if he doesn't want to change, if he doesn't want counseling, what are you prepared to do? Are you prepared to stay and hope for the best? And it's here the toughest decisions of life will need to be made. And it doesn't matter what the variables are, anything you add to the story, at the end of the day, I would say, what are you, if it was me counseling you, I would say, what are you prepared to do if he doesn't change? Because it starts with you. Sorry, go on.
The deep variable here, and the most important variable here, is the child. That is the most important variable here in this whole thing now. It's the child. You have a child here. It's one thing if it's just the two of you. If it's just the two of you, all right. But you have a child here now. There is another life. And there is another life that is going to, as it grows, that is going to see the emotional abuse, that is going to hear the verbal arguments, that is going to see the distance while daddy may love me, daddy just don't love mummy. You know what I mean? Mummy, who is that woman that daddy's with? You know what I mean? Mummy, who was that who's that? Who's Teresa that I heard you arguing with Daddy with on the phone? There's another life here. There's another life here. And you two have to understand that it ain't about you no more. It ain't just about the two of you anymore. It's about this life. It's about this life that is going to hear your mess. It's about this life that is going to take on your mess. It's about this life now going all the way back to the original conversations of potential that is going to have parts of you growing in it, parts of the father growing in it, and what it sees, it's going to actually build upon. And so that's why you've got to do that. You can't just stay in your place and just chat about it's me and you and you. No. There's a life here. If there was no child here, then all right, fair enough. But there's a child here. So now you have to take responsible decisions as adults for this life, for this life. And you can't be just, sorry, I sound like I'm getting vexed, and I feel like I'm getting vexed. Because when people start
but you have to get vexed. You have to get angry.
Kind of like you're going out with each other.
You have to get angry.
Like you're going out with each other. You ain't going out with each other anymore. No, there's a life here. And you have to be responsible for that life. What that's
it's a generation.
Yeah,
it's a generation
that's growing here.
Just that,
a whole generation that's growing here.
Yeah, just sitting in a corner with your phone, sending nudes. Just that has prepared 2 to 3, maybe 4 generations for desolation, whilst we sit there and have fun.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's a whatchamacallit. There's a life. There's a life here. There's a life here now, and you've got to have responsibility for that life. That's what parenting is.
Come on.
That's what parenting is now. Yeah. You ain't just a husband and wife now. You are a husband and wife who are parents now. You've got to have responsibility for that wife. Even if you're not a husband and wife, if you're together as a couple and you're living together and you're living under the same roof and you're living with your children, then you got to have responsibility for that. You can't just be in and out and out and in and in and out and out and in. What kind of thing is that you're showing your children then?
Yeah.
What are you teaching them about their value? You know what I mean? Yeah. What are you teaching them about their value? Come on, man. Sure.
Our jobs, same for you, Kojo, all the same. Our jobs, and what makes our lives a challenge is actually helping people pick up the pieces to their brokenness, because men are having fun.
Yeah.
And we are all here, the byproduct of this very thing here.
Gee, Lord, brother. And men have regrets. Forgetful men become regretful men. Trust me, forgetful men become regretful men. So I'm just saying, it's a tragic. If this is where it is, it's and you've done enough marriage counseling in your time, Kurt, and you probably heard Yvonne and I say this to you when we counseled you on Anita. Like, listen, if you two know you ain't for each other, then end it now. A broken engagement ain't a tragedy.
Yeah.
A broken engagement is just a financial imposition because you don't plan your marriage. You know what I mean? You don't plan your wedding, you start spending money. A broken engagement, it's a heartbreak, but it ain't a tragedy. What's a tragedy is 3 years later, 1 child. 3 years later, 2 children. 3 years later, that's what the tragedy is. When children now come into it and you find yourself in this position, you know what I mean? And everything that now what we're looking at here is a tragedy. Yeah, what we're looking at here is a tragedy. The question I would have asked, I've had trust issues with my husband. Did they have premarital counseling? Did you have premarital counseling? It's imperative that you have premarital counseling so that you know what you're marrying. Because when you're dating someone, when you're going out with somebody, that is designed to hide all their flaws. So, you know what I mean? Going out. We're not going out with you. You know what I mean? You want to go out with me? When you're going out with someone, when you're dating somebody, the dating is designed to hide the flaws because you're just so Google eye, And so that's why you need premarital counseling, just to sit you down and so that somebody can, you know, objectively ask you questions so that you can see each other. Really, that's all it is, so that you can see each other and you're like, oh, really, I didn't realize that those were your emotional needs. Oh my gosh. Oh, you don't want children? Like, they're like, no, I don't want no children. Oh my gosh, I never knew that. You know what I mean? Oh, so this is the way that you feel about the whole idea of vulnerability and trust. Oh my gosh, I never knew. Yeah, because you're dating. Dating is about emotional hype. It's like emotional adrenaline. Yeah, it hides a whole bunch of things. But premarital enables you to actually see. You know, then you might be like, no, I can't marry you, man. You know, or like, all right, then they come with baggage, but we can do the work. We can do the work. So I don't know.
I just want to reiterate a point that is resonating with me, because I was, and the person doesn't mind me speaking about this. They probably listen for all I know, and they're happy for that to happen. But I said to this person who's in practically the same situation, I said, without looking at your partner, you have to ask yourself, are you prepared to teach your child how to handle the future by your inaction
in the present?
So you're teaching your child, search his phone. You're teaching your child, sit there and do nothing. And it's those actions that allow abuse to take place, because it's not necessarily just the abusers. It's those who keep silent whilst abuse is taking place. And for me, it is a frustration, but I do understand how disorientated you must feel. But if you have to check your man's phone because you don't trust him, it's a dead man's game.
Yeah.
And you're teaching your children, this is how you have relationships. So you are really, it's your responsibility for the most part, how the next generation do this.
Yeah.
Even in a broken family, they can do well. You just have to show them now.
Yeah.
Never
take
this, never do this.
Yeah. Yeah. We can feel it for you.
Yeah.
But you got to feel it for yourself. You know, you got to feel it for yourself. You know, we've started counseling, but he didn't take it seriously, so we stopped. I've tried to talk through our issues and ask him to stop, but he hasn't. What do you guys think? I think you've come to the end of how far you can go. How far you should go. I think
sending nudes is another level, by the way.
Yeah. And then if you started the counseling and the counseling isn't being taken seriously, then that means that there's things about himself he's not willing to confront. And he's just saying, no, you got to take me as you see me. And you've got to figure out whether or not taking him as you see him and taking him as he is good for you and good for your child.
Yeah.
And, you know,
yeah.
It says here he can't stop. No, he won't stop.
That's right.
That's the difference. It's not that he can't stop. He can stop, because whether you can or you can't is a decision. His decision is not to stop. Well, then your decision has to be to stop enabling that then. And just like, all right, we've gone as far as we're going to go. We've gone as far as we're going to go.
And speaking to the man, I just want to say, porn is an addiction. Attention seeking, validation from women that you don't know or know. And we spoke to a little bit of that earlier on. Can also be as addictive. But if in the face of losing my family, I think any man in his half right man would have stopped. But a man who doesn't stop that, sending nudes, dating sites, he's actually having other relationships. Your relationship was over a long time ago, in my opinion. And that sounds actually harsh, and I don't want to condemn. But looking more into this, he's actually having other relationships, multiple relationships with real and unreal women, and communicating with them in a very inappropriate way. I really wouldn't want that man around my child. And I'm speaking quite harshly, and it just means really more young. The man that's involved in that, I want to speak to you and say, you've lost. your family almost. But mum, you got to do what you got to do. Men don't often call other men out. My friends, all of my friends will call me out. All of my friends, male and female, they will call me out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look after yourself. A few weeks ago, we talked about people not having the capacity. He doesn't have the capacity to be a faithful husband. So now what?
So now he steps away and he does the work. He steps away and he puts the work in.
That's right.
Yeah, he steps away and he puts the work in. He goes to therapy. He does all the things that he needs to be. Not just to be that person for his family, but to be that person for himself, to break a cycle. You know what I mean? What he's seen, he learned from somewhere. But he didn't learn well. What he was taught wasn't good. What he was taught wasn't healthy. So he has to now break the cycle for himself. He has to break the cycle for himself. And that's what he does. Go put the work in. Because trust me, you know, I'm not sure how young this couple is. But, you know, if they're young, if they're in their 20s, your 40s, they happen just like that. 20 years, they go just like that. You know what I mean? And that 6-month-old child, believe me, it hits different. And I've seen it for parents. It hits different for them. When their 6-month-old child that was blind and unaware of all of that now looks at you with 20-year-old eyes. And there's coldness in their eyes. There's coldness in their eyes. Now I don't need you. I'm good. I'm good. I don't need you. I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen it with close friends. I've seen it within my family. There's a sadness that fills my heart when I see that. When they look at like, yeah, it's all right. Chill. So get the work for you. Get the work for you so that you can break that cycle. So that if you have other children in other relationships, you know, then you know, that them children are going to be healthy because you're healthy. Yeah. They're going to be emotionally healthy because you're emotionally healthy. Or maybe you can just go back and put in the work and try and build your family back again. Try and build your family back again. Because obviously you're with somebody who wants to make it work. Yeah. You know, based on what she's saying, she wants to make it work, you know, but you know, you don't want to make it work. And for her, going all the way back to Shirley Brown, it ain't no fun being in love all by yourself when the one you love loves someone else, whether it be themselves or the attention of other women or actual other women or, you know.
In the spirit of justice, can we just take a minute to just speak to the man?
Bro, you see, now I'm going to start getting emotional. Why you do that for? Did Juanita tell you to do that?
No, she but you have to.
Kojo, I don't like doing no type of interview with Juanita and Curtis the same time, you know. Believe me, them two always get me, man. And I've been good this whole time. Juanita's there like, I have to get this guy, man. I have to get him. Oh, Curtis, ask him to talk to the man.
No, it's me. Is it, you know, she would have, but we have to because, you know, we know as much as we get angry, it's difficult, but God's grace extends to the worst of us. And a cycle of behavior where a man is trapped in sexuality, ego, and fulfillment at the cost of 300 years of dysfunction. That's what, you know, easily.
You know,
what are we saying to this guy?
I don't know what.
Kojo, man, I mean, you know, don't, you know, he just, you know.
Way quiet there, man. But I will say this, and I will say what God said to me. No matter what it is that you've learned or you've been taught, no matter what it is that life has written into your journey, I write with a bigger pen. Allow me to write different into your life. Allow me to write different into your heart. Allow me to write Allow me to send other men around you that can show you how to write different into your life and different into your heart and different into your journey. I don't care. Even at this stage, even though we are talking like you're written off, even though we're talking right now like we've written you off, I want you to know God writes with a bigger pen. No matter who writes you off, God writes with a bigger pen. And he will send people around you to enable you and empower you. Hey. To write with a bigger pen. Don't allow this to be your story. 10 years happens quickly in life. 10 years happens quickly in life, and all the damage that is done in a decade, it takes 3 decades to undo. So from where you are now, begin now. Don't allow this to be your story. Don't allow this to be your story. Allow this to, this is a chapter, but don't allow this to be the story. This is a chapter, and it's an important chapter, but don't allow it to be the whole book. Don't allow it to be the whole book. Don't allow it to be the whole book. Yeah, that's me.
Oh, that's me.
And I did that without crying, Juanita, so whatever. Yeah.
This is a trap. Sex and fulfillment, like the empty, disconnected sense of fulfillment. Marriage doesn't cure any of that. And I think in our age now, it's easily hidden. And it doesn't matter what title you have and how much experience you have. This is a lot of people starting from 7-8 years old we're dealing with in social services, and it goes up into the older ages where I'm addicted to this. It feels good. It feels right. And I think, porn addiction and sex addiction is one of the great unspoken. And it's interesting because on one hand, society is saying it's okay. And on the other hand, we're seeing families destroyed because of it. But it's such a powerful, it's like a clamp that you need special keys to undo. It's got you. But I think, that scripture, where God's grace abounds, where sin abounds, God's grace abounds much more. When I say there's hope, I'm saying, and I'm trying not to speak like I have all the answers, but you have to do something real drastic for yourself to just break out of this cycle. It's a powerful cycle, but you have to go ape. You have to go ape. What you're going through is real, but you have to go ape. I want to say more, but I'll leave it there. Australia's woken up.
Trust me.
It's all right, man.
Oh, man. This situation, do you know what? It's tight. I've counseled someone at a very similar situation like this. So it's like, I was like, oh, man, this is sad, man. Do you know what I mean? You know how it's so difficult, especially I'm trying to see, I'm trying to give grace. It's a bit tougher though, isn't it? Because obviously it's moving kind of mad. I'm sorry. Men are moving kind of mad right now. But I really think I will say this again, without having the language, this man will continue to move in emotions. without the language to be able to express what is going on in his heart and his head, he will continue to move in the emotions. He'll continue to move like a caveman.
Absolutely.
Because he lacks the language and the words to be able to express what's going on in the internal conflict that's happening within himself. You know, I would advise him, listen, Google, YouTube are there. You know, listen, you know, like if you don't even understand what's going on with you, before you even go to do your pathology and look at what your family line is saying, brother, Google's there, you know. You can ask Google. Google will give some answers as to why men cheat. He will tell you some reasons, and it might resonate with you. It might start also giving you some language as well as to why you're in the position. Because I think a lot of times what happens for guys like this, because what it sounded like is, okay, number one, you know, he's sending nudes, he's talking to other women, you know, but there's another concerning part within that particular dilemma is that when he's been approached about the issue, he's actually gaslighted her. You know, he's actually said to her, listen, you're crazy, you're moving mad. This is not what it was.
Exactly.
So this person doesn't even want to take accountability. He's been caught and doesn't want to take accountability, but rather will make you feel crazy for going to his phone. Now, I don't want you to go through his phone, but I'm just saying he's going to rather focus on that moment where you went through his phone rather than focusing on the deed that he's just done. This doesn't sound like somebody who is at the moment afraid of losing his family, right? Because what's happened is he's got so locked in with whatever sin and whatever vice he's attached himself to that now has become the priority, right? And oftentimes, like you were saying, I think Eddie said earlier on about addiction. You don't realize that you've got an addiction. You know what I mean? Like we can look at the crackhead and be like, yeah, he's a crackhead. Look, he's gonna be scratching himself, doing all that stuff. He's got an addiction that you can't see. It's within. So you don't see him scratching, you don't see him itching, but you will see him like he's doing right now on some websites, texting and messaging. And when he's been told to stop, he's even taken himself to counseling with the partner. And even when he's been told, he said he's going to continue. That person actually lacks a respect for you too, because they lack respect for themselves. You know what I mean? So this gentleman really needs to sit down and take accountability, number one, and also take stock of what the consequences are of this particular action. People do certain actions because they realize the consequence of their actions don't matter to them, right? Like some of us who've moved mad in the past and done our stupidity with women in the past, the way we got around it was by taking ourselves out of the sphere of the consequences. So I don't want to look at you when you're emotional. I don't be around you when you're complaining. I'm not around you when you're feeling hurt, because then I don't want to have to think and feel about what I've just done. This man has what we call he's disassociated himself. So he won't feel anything. This is why it's such a dangerous place to try, like you were saying as well, Eddie and Curtis, to try and continue this relationship, because you've taken a good course of action to go to counseling to see this can work, and he's mocked that. Listen, as Jesus said on the cross, forgive them. But my friend, you don't have to be in the same vicinity to do this. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be in the same relationship to do this. And it's clear that he's not respecting you or this relationship, or even respecting the fact that his consequences have generational impact. You know what I mean? So I really feel like he needs to sit down, take stock, and find the language to what he's feeling right now. This is why many men do what they do.
And to add to that,
Go for it,
Kojo, somebody back in the comments said this whole thing about capacity, that it's BS. This is what we're talking about. What you're hearing Kojo say there, he does not have the capacity. When he says he doesn't have the language, he doesn't have the capacity to deal with what he's dealing with here. He doesn't have the framework, because that's what capacity is. It's about framework. It's about structure. It's about ideas. He doesn't have that. So what is he doing? Just like Kojo said, he's gaslighting the girl. He's just making himself disassociate from what she's going through. And so this is what we're talking about when we mention the word capacity. Capacity isn't BS. It's an actual real thing. People just don't have the capacity to know how to deal with that, so they don't deal with that. You know what I mean? Because it's obvious that if this is what he's doing, he learned that. That is learned behavior. Yeah, that is learned behavior. It's learned behavior. And if it's learned, it can be unlearned. If it's learned, it can be unlearned. But he has to be able to get in the space with people who can enable him and empower him to do that. Be around people who could show him something different. You know what I mean? Is this narcissism? No, not really.
No,
not completely. You know what I mean?
I think it's more close to arrested development. I would closer put it arrested development. Honestly, I would put this as arrested development. You know, because it's only a child. It's only a child that would have the inability to control its impulses. You know what I mean? As a child is growing, it learns how to manage impulse. Right, but as a baby, the baby will do whatever it feels to do. It doesn't know any different. Do you know what I mean? So if you're a grown-ass man and you can't control your impulses and you don't know that you can't stop yourself from doing things, it's because you're arrested. Your development's been arrested in a certain area. The emotional work that you're supposed to have done has been stunted. Do you understand? So that's why sometimes when I some of my guys, I'm like, well, you guys were. There were players and there were players, people that just move so cold, ice cold, that could do things. You're like, whoa, that is evil, bro. Like, you really be doing some evil stuff, fam. Right? And a lot of times you don't realize because they actually don't have the capacity to be able to, I keep hearing the meme in my head. They don't have the capacity to be able to fathom what the consequence of their action is and how to actually say, actually, you know what? This isn't the best course of action anymore. They know right and wrong, but they don't have the capacity emotionally to really deep what's going on. And it's a sad situation. But in this particular case, I'm with you guys. I think she's done all she can. It's back up and leave. Unless he's going to do the work by himself. Do you know what's so funny? Some of the people that I've counseled in this, right? When I ask, let me have the man one-to-one, guess what happens to the man? He goes. Doesn't want to do it. Runs.
Yeah.
A lot of times they run. They don't want to change.
Arrested development, man. That's beautiful. You know what I mean? I've got to respect that 1 second though, just quickly. Kurt.
Everyday people.
All right then, yeah.
Do they know this song? Do they know this song?
I just wanted to speak to.
I just want to speak to the wife quickly. My last point on the show, and then I think we'll round it up unless you've got anything to say, is that I'm not convinced that this level of behavior in some way wasn't noticed before marriage. And I think that when someone has maybe a sexual addiction or inappropriate behavior, gaslighting behavior, there's no way that you didn't see something beforehand. How well could that have been hidden? Or how closed your eyes were? I don't know, but one of the two is happening. Ladies and gentlemen, don't close your eyes to troublesome behavior before you get married and before you have children. Problem solved, Ed.
Free. I want to be free.
Yeah, if there's a red flag, talk about it.
Yeah.
Someone like that would have shown you something and you just turned a blind eye.
And I would say this, before even marriage, if you're with someone and you like them and the two of you are thinking about, let's get serious and let's go down the road and let's get this thing serious, go and get some marriage counseling. I mean, go get some relationship, not marriage, relationship counseling. Go get some relationship. If you're talking about, we're going to sit into this place with each other for the next 5 years, go get some relationship counseling so that you can see at the beginning of the journey what you're going down the road with. Because you don't want to get to the end of 5 years and like, well, man, that was a colossal waste of time. You know what I mean? You don't want to feel like that. You would have learned from it. You know what I mean? Even if the lessons are painful. But go and do that. You know what I mean? You may realize after the relationship counseling, no, we're not going to go out with each other for 5 years. Let's get married. Like, I could spend the rest of my life with you. Like, yeah. Let's get married and just grow it in there. Yeah. Let's just get, and just, so, get relationship counseling.
Buy a cake, see how he feeds you. I like that.
Yeah, man.
Do you know what? I'm gonna wrap it up if that's all right, man.
Oh, one last. I just want to say one
Oh,
last thing. Sorry,
go
just
on,
an
go on. Sorry.
observation. No, it's just an observation. So the issue that if we're talking about someone seeing signs before they actually happen, she's actually similarly got the same problem as the man. And I know it's going to sound really mad. The situation is this: when you ignore stuff, oftentimes because you also don't, when you don't have language for what you're seeing, you often play down the severity of what you're seeing. Yeah. Right, because the language gives the language what sometimes we give, or a label we give, gives the severity of the thing. For instance, we have arguments on the channel all the time about, is someone an abuser? Well, if I said you're abusive, the loadedness of that word suddenly changes how everybody views a particular situation. Right. For instance, we just showed a video of the man throwing a cake in a woman's face. Right. I would say that was close to abusive. Right now, suddenly, how you gonna look? You be like, right, actually, no, it was more than just, yeah, you're doing a bit much, coach. Like, he just only threw cake in his face. No, but it's abusive. Because the force and the energy and the facial, all of that intent in that one moment was abusive. Now, what happens when I say that? Your focus completely shifts and changes at that moment because the language has changed. When we downplay what we're seeing, oftentimes it's because the language has been downplayed. And so when the language is downplayed, you often downplay the severity. So the red flag she might have seen, she might have played it off as, oh, he's just, he's a bit naughty. He likes that, he likes to be a little bit naughty.
He's a ladies' man. He's a ladies' man.
He's a ladies' man. He's a bit of a freak. You know what I'm saying? Right? Words that downplay what you're actually seeing. Yeah. So I think for woman and for man, anybody going into a relationship, listen, don't do yourself a disservice by playing down the language. Keep it real. What you're seeing is what you're seeing. Don't lie to it. Don't try to lie to yourself. We said this, I don't know, me and Curtis. The seduction is in the lie that you want to buy. They want to sell you a dream and you want to
seduce yourself.
You seduce yourself. You know what I mean? So just this is that as a
and at this stage, Mrs. Fraser, I want you to know we're not blaming the wife. We're not blaming the wife. We're actually heartbroken for the wife. We're just simply saying, at this stage, you know what I mean? We're just pointing it out at this stage of where they both are. We are not blaming the wife or gaslighting the wife for the behavior of the husband. No. Not at all. He is a whole package by himself, and that's what he's bringing into that space. You know what I mean? What we are saying was that she probably went into the relationship, you know what I mean, with blinkers on, and we're not blaming her for doing that because we all go into relationships with blinkers on. We all go into relationships with blinkers on.
I can blame her. Huh? I can blame her. Yeah, I can do it. Don't worry, I'll do it for you, Eddie. What am I going to say to these people? Listen, and we keep it 100% real, right? She's not to blame for his behavior as he's doing right now. That's what we're saying. But
exactly.
You are responsible when you enter into a relationship to do your due diligence. Because you cannot blame the con man. The con man's going to do what a con man does. You understand? But you are the project that they're working on. You now have a responsibility going into that relationship to do due diligence to make sure, because your heart's on the line. You know what I'm saying? Would you just put your £2,000 into a business and wouldn't do your due diligence? You wouldn't. You know what I mean? So don't worry, I'll say it for you. We're not blaming the woman for his behavior. But you have to be accountable
for handling your business.
Your own.
You got to handle your business.
Otherwise, you won't learn for the next time. We'll just be like, oh, it happened, and I was hurt. Yeah, but you got to learn. This is important.
This is something that we need to learn about love. Love is the greatest giving of ourselves that we will give. That's why you have to choose to love somebody. You can be forced to hate somebody, but you can never be forced to love somebody. You can never be forced to love somebody because that is a conscious giving of yourself. Love will never save a person that doesn't choose to be saved. Love cannot choose somebody that doesn't choose to be saved. If you think your love is going to save that person and they are not choosing to be saved, because in choosing to be saved, they have to choose to respond to your love. And love only responds to love by choice. Love does not respond to love by coercion. It doesn't. And love isn't going to save somebody that doesn't want to be saved. I don't care how much love you got. You don't believe me? Ask Judas. Not even Jesus could save him. In the end, Jesus was like, brethren, listen, whatever you're going to do, go do it, man.
Interesting.
Go do it. I can't help you.
You open up a topic for me.
Serious. You read the Gospels. Jesus was trying to save Judas all day. Judas, go with these man, them sort out this thing. Judas, go with Judas, stay with Peter, and then man, them sort out this thing. You know what I mean? Judas is like, oh Lord, listen, I got to get up now. Judas, we're having Passover. Cool. Oh Lord, I got to get up now. Judas, let me wash your feet. Oh Lord, I got to get up now. Judas, no, this is the blood. This is the bread. Judas, oh, this is the wine poured out for you. Oh Lord, I still got to go. Hey, brethren, what you need to go do. Obviously, because I can't help you. My love can't help you. My love can't help you. Love
because we both have to want this.
Yeah. Love only responds to love by choice.
Mm.
You know, and you can't choose somebody you can't save somebody that doesn't want to be saved, that isn't choosing to be saved. You know, and it's important that you understand that.
Key point.
Do me a favor, hold up your book, bro.
Oh, Living from Here. Living from Here. It's a book on resilience. It's a book on resilience that I wrote. And it's about how do we live from the here.
We got you, man. We can see it.
How do we live from the here that we find ourselves in? You know, wherever that here is, how do we live from the here that we find ourselves in? And so you can pick it up at EYRLTD.com. I didn't put it on Amazon because Bezos is rich enough and I ain't putting money in his pocket to fly to the moon. Like, no, I ain't about that. That's not my portion. that ain't my portion. Or to pay for his divorces. You know what I mean?
Hey, you paid his wife, you paid his alimony. That's what you're doing, man.
Yeah, you can pick it up at EYRLTD.com. Or if you're on Insta, just go to the link in my bio. And you can find it there at the link in my bio. Yeah.
When are you coming back, Ed?
To the
show.
Where do we find your leadership ebooks? You can find my leadership ebooks at EYR. I've just actually produced a free book. It's called 4 Questions, and I wrote it specifically for this period where we find ourselves post-COVID. How do we navigate? So 4 questions: who am I? How am I? How do I? And why and where do I? And it's a free book. I think it can help. The feedback so far has been really good. And yeah, and I haven't skimped on it because it's free. You know, people are, well, it's free, it can't be that. No, it's a short book, but it's the let's do the work section that's going to keep you pinned down. But go take a read. Go take a read. EYRLTD.com. That's my website. EYRlimited.com. EYRLTD.com. And you can find it there.
When are you coming back?
As soon as they open up the planet.
Bro, I'm talking about on the show.
Oh. Whenever you invite me back, man. Yeah, I was. It's just, yeah. Whenever you invite me back. Yeah, cool. And thank you for this. Thank you for allowing me to be in this space with you, man. You know, I've watched you from a distance, and I love, you know, and it's a pleasure to finally be in a space with you, Coach. Seriously, I've watched you from a distance, and I like this guy, man. I like this guy.
Thank you, sir. You know, thank you, sir.
So it's a blessing and a privilege to be with you, King Kurt. Sir, you know, love you from day. Love you from day. Love you from day.
Grown men talk. We love it.
This is gosh, how can I say this? This is the only other guy I look up to now. We've had an interest in history, and through all that, mathematically, it doesn't add up that we actually talk. But he's the only other guy that I look up to.
Yeah, so, God's got a bigger pen, innit? God's pen is a mad pen, man. God is a mad. God writing.
Yeah. Eddie needs a podcast. They said
he does.
What are you doing?
All right,
let's polite podcast.
Let's come. What did you call it?
Hippolyte podcast. I think it sounds sweet. Hippolyte podcast is, yeah, man. We're ready for it.
Podcast. All right, then.
I'm
gonna take that, man.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna take that. Hippolyte podcast, man.
Yeah, man.
We need
that.
I like that. Yeah. No, believe me, it's going to be a pleasure. I'll come back on. Yeah.
No worries, too.
Yeah.
I can't wait. The audience loved it, so I'm very much pleased, man. Do you know what I mean? They've got a nickname for you, Locked and Loaded, so good to go. When you earn that title on this channel, there's two people that earned that title. Three.
One night, man. One night.
Yeah. Even I don't have that title. You know, no one's
unlocked and unloaded, man. Lord have mercy.
People have got locked and loaded means they're ready with shells. So no, it's we appreciate you so much, man. And Curtis, thank you once again, being the bridge. Curtis is an amazing bridge,
man. Isn't he a brilliant bridge, man?
He's a brilliant bridge, man. Does his job well, man. I mean, I don't know anyone else who can connect like he does, man.
Yeah, man. It's not one of them rocky bridges.
Holding it up,
sturdy.
Still holding it up.
Sturdy, man. You know what I mean? Like Blackfriars Bridge. You know what I mean? They say Blackfriars Bridge is one of the safest bridges in London. I think it's called the Ladies' Bridge because it was built during the Second World War and it was built by women.
Ah, don't tell them that because they were killing us now.
Blackfriars Bridge.
Oh man! All right, listen, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you again once more, audience. You turned out strong. I appreciate that. You know, it's always deep when you're around here on these type of conversations. So we appreciate Eddie and Curtis as well for spending, almost 2 hours of their time with us, man. Do you know what I mean? It's honestly appreciated. And so audience members, I hope you've taken something from this. Watch out for next week when we go live again at 8 p.m. We're taking in some more dilemmas. If you have a dilemma, please do hit us in the email. Hopefully we can answer that on the show as well. But again, stay locked and stay loaded, people. And we will see you very, very soon once more. Little blast.